Okay, so I don't normally do something like this, but I felt the need to actually jump in and take a look at IGN's review of Sonic Unleashed. Granted, this review is almost 20 years old now, so I will give benefit of the doubt. But other than that, let's jump right into it and look at the criticisms our friend here has today.
There's one thing you should know about Sonic Unleashed before spending your hard-earned money on it. It's a big piece of garbage. Big piece of garbage.
Okay, that was a nice warning. Very nice warning from our friends at IGN. Let's actually take a look at the criticism and see what Mr. Hillary Goldstein is going to point out here.
That should probably be enough to warn off anybody who's thinking about playing it, but I guess we should talk a little bit more about it, just in case you like to hear this tortured sound of my voice. Indeed, it's games like this that make reviewers rethink their lives. Now, I have a theory when it comes to Sonic games. Someone at Sega hates the Hedgehog with all his might, and he's going about trying to sabotage the franchise with these awful games.
Sorry, just a quick question. What does your theory have to do with a review? I mean, it's kind of pointless to throw it in when it's really unnecessary. I have a theory that people at IGN don't like the Hedgehog either. Doesn't exactly mean it's true, does it? I would also like to make the argument that the boost formula is actually very good in this game, and has helped to inspire the entire franchise, I'd like to say. If you want some actual examples, all you have to do is take a look at Sonic Generations, Sonic Colors, Sonic Forces, and Sonic X Shadow Generations. They're all there. Even Frontiers, which is mainly a sort of new take on the formula with an open world thing, still has the boost formula. And somehow, they keep getting better each time they try.
This is the only explanation that makes any sense to me. Pretty much every decision made for this game was the wrong one, and Sonic ends up taking more beating than a piñata because of it. The gameplay in Sonic Unleashed is split up into 3 equal parts. There are daytime stages which are actually very good.
And you've just contradicted yourself. You said that this was a self-sabotage game and that they made the worst decisions for this game, yet you go ahead and you compliment one of the aspects of the game. Make up your mind. Is it a failure, or is it a good game?
There are nighttime stages which are actually complete rubbish.
I'm not gonna lie, that sounds like a skill issue. It's really not that difficult when you have a wide variety of combos to choose from.
And then there's also the hub city where you do a lot of exploration stuff, and that's boring as can be. Now the daytime stages are actually pretty fun. It's fast platforming that is mostly on rails, and for a brief moment you might actually think to yourself, wow, this is what a current gen Sonic game should be. Of course your hopes will be brutally dashed later on, but never mind that for now. The daytime sections aren't perfect by any means. The jump button can be fatally unresponsive at times, and it's just a lot of trial and error gameplay that
Fatally unresponsive at times and proceed to jump over a dash pad. Okay, pal.
can get a little bit repetitive after a while. You know, if the game was just 3 hours and only contained these daytime sections, it wouldn't be such a bad thing, and actually, it'd be a pretty good game.
And there's another contradiction. You just said that the game could be incredibly repetitive, and now you're saying that if it was 3 hours long and was just the daytime stages, you'd actually enjoy it. Are you going to keep contradicting yourself throughout this entire video? Because if so, I'm just going to cut out these parts.
You know, I can even overlook the stupid airplane part that they stuck in, which is a rail shooter where you don't actually really get to shoot guns.
You just said that you can't shoot any actual guns and then proceed to show a clip of you shooting guns. Wow.
But see, the problem is the sun goes down. And what happens when the sun goes down? Well, of course, Sonic turns into a werewolf. Oh, excuse me, werehog, if you want to use the official terminology.
I would like you to use the official terminology. You are a game journalist. It is your job to use the correct terminology. Otherwise, your reviews would just be mindless slop. Words written on a document that are worth nothing.
Now, the reasons why he does this as well, it's not really worth getting into.
Isn't it kind of like your job to get into the details of it? You know, considering that is a third of the gameplay that you mentioned between the hub world, daytime, and nighttime stages. If I have to remind you that you're a game journalist, it is your job to, you know, actually criticize the game and take a look at it, then, you know, I think I'd be a better game journalist than you would.
However, you should know that the game changes completely Gone is the speed of Sonic replaced by a bunch of boring, brawling sections. The frame rate's bad, the camera's bad, and the fighting stuff is just tedious and terrible.
Okay, yes, I will agree with what you said. The camera can be kind of bad at times. But would you also like to tell me and explain to me how you think the gameplay is tedious and terrible? Once again, I'm gonna have to say it, but it sounds like a skill issue.
As a werehog, you go around beating the crap out of stuff and performing a bunch of really bad platforming sections. Oh yeah, and you have stretchy arms, because, everybody knows that werewolves have stretchy arms.
And everybody should also know that werewolves aren't real, so that kinda invalidates your point, if I'm being honest.
Even worse is that these stages drag on for like a half hour each. There's no excuse to extend the pain this much, especially since the fun daytime levels only last 4 or 5 minutes.
In what world are the nighttime stages half an hour long? If it takes you half an hour to get to the nighttime stages, again, that's a skill issue for you. Not us, you. Also, they should only take you at least around 13 minutes, 15 minutes at best. And, well, yes, I will agree, some of them, they do feel like they drag on. I won't deny that point. However, they should not be taking you nearly half an hour. That is a problem on your end, not the average player.
Sonic the Werehog makes Biggs the Cat look like an endearing character. Yeah, it's that bad. Even if there were just those 2 kinds of levels, this game wouldn't be that bad. Sure, you'd have to endure the horrible nighttime levels, but you'd always know that the daytime was coming soon enough and you'd get to enjoy those. However, Team Sonic didn't want to let any slip-ups happen. They had to make this game bad. So how do you make it worse? Well, first, you add completely unnecessary RPG elements.
Okay, so now I'm kind of tempted to ask, did you actually play the game, or did you watch someone play it on YouTube and just only watch the daytime stages? Because if that's the case, you're doing your job wrong, and I shouldn't have to tell you that. But for those who, are just tuning in, they've never touched Sonic Unleashed in their lifetime, what he's just mentioned is not useless. It is a skill tree which helps you to unlock more combos for the werehog, which, yes, he does kind of need them. So, that whole point about the skill tree being useless and there's unnecessary RPG elements mixed in, yeah, clearly you don't have functioning eyes, because if you did, you'd see that, yes, they are useful. You just didn't play the game right.
You gain XP for every bad guy you kill, and then you can spend this XP to increase things like Sonic's speed or your werehog's moveset. It's not so terrible, but it does seem unnecessary. I mean, really, do I need to pay to upgrade Sonic's speed? Shouldn't Sonic be as fast as he can be from the get-go?
You're making it out like Sonic isn't immediately fast upon booting up the game. You can go fast as Sonic without any upgrades. In fact, when playing the game, if you do choose to pick it up, I recommend that you don't put all your skill points into the speed segments, the daytime stages. I recommend you put them all into the werehog so that you can at least make those stages a bit more enjoyable with all the added combos. But of course, you didn't think of doing that, did you?
Isn't that the reason why I bought a Sonic game in the first place? But that's not all. I've saved the best for last. Convinced that Sonic fans don't just want to run really fast and have fun, there are hub worlds. These terrible, terrible hub worlds are where you aimlessly walk around, talk to people for no reason, and collect coins to get to the next level.
I would like to remind you that the roaming around the hub world and talking to the NPCs dotted around the area is completely optional. You don't have to talk to them. While yes, you do have to collect the medallions so that you can, at least move on to the next stage, which you'll find out through difficult progress, because the game doesn't exactly tell you that, which is a flaw the game has. I won't defend it on that, because even I myself struggled from that. But still, it is entirely optional. No one is forcing you to speak to the hub world NPCs. That's your choice.
Oh, and you can cleanse people's souls by taking pictures of them. I'm not even joking about that. These hubs are a giant waste of time that only serve to annoy the player. And once again, it's just more gameplay that's keeping you away from the one part of Sonic that's fun, and that's the daytime levels.
I already know your side, but I'm going to explain mine. I don't feel like these hub worlds are useless and distracting and unnecessary. I think they're quite nice. I forgot to mention it in the last point, but I'll mention it now. These optional NPCs that you can talk to often also engage, or allow you to engage, in minigames. which breathe even more life into this game. And that's a problem for you, apparently. But we'll get back onto the actual point I interrupted your video for. I think the hub worlds are quite detailed. I think they're nice to look at, because considering the fact that this is a game all about adventuring all around the planet to fix pieces of the planet, I would assume, or I would at least hope, that the hub worlds that you look at would be interesting and would have culture resident within them. I would hope that that's in the game, and it is. But you don't like that, for whatever reason you have.
Sonic Unleashed is a classic example of what happens when a good idea isn't left alone. There's just too much fussing that's been done to this once good formula.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong here, but you are making it out to seem like this formula isn't good, and that it never has been. But you also contradict yourself and you say that it was a once great formula. If this formula was so bad, would you care to explain to me why it has appeared in countless other games over the last 20 years? Like I mentioned earlier, Sonic Colors, Sonic Generations, Shadow Generations, Forces, and Frontiers.
It's kind of like having a group of 5-year-olds come up with ideas after giving them a bowl full of sugar. Sure, there are fun parts buried inside, but don't subject yourself to the pain. But the best thing I can say about Sonic Unleashed is that it does at least make the old Sonic the Hedgehog games look a whole lot better.
Are you going to elaborate on that, or are you just going to leave it there and tell people to go view the link in your description so that they can read the full article? Is that what's going to happen in the next 5 seconds when I'm finished speaking?
I guess that's something. For the full written review, head on over to IGN.com.
Do not click the link in the description, because it will only lead you to an article that will make you want to rip your own hair out if you're a fan of Sonic Unleashed. And it could also make you rip your hair out if you're not a fan of Sonic Unleashed, because it is just a terrible article. But anyways, that is the end of that video. I'm gonna just pause it there, because there's nothing else to it apart from an end screen, which I don't think anyone else wants to see. But, yeah. If this video does well, I will actually take a look at the article and I will dissect it bit by bit, you know, only if this video does well. And let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. Also let me know in the comments if you want to see more videos like this, because if this does well, I will continue with more debate videos that are similar to this one for a range of different topics, like I mentioned in the YouTube bio. So that's pretty much it. Take care. I've been your host, Joker, and have a good rest of your day.